While most of the world today is discussing the global economy and tariffs, we actually received a World War III threat from Russia. The United States today is getting a threat. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you the latest headlines coming out, as this is being reported all over the world, except for in the United States, where we're primarily focused on the economy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, but let's take a look at this so you can see exactly what is going on, as we have been receiving this threat today. April the 3rd, 2025, you can see Russia warns of irreversible global catastrophe coming if the U.S. attacks Iran. Russia warns against U.S. strike on Iran nuclear sites, says this will be catastrophic. There will be consequences of global catastrophe. Iranian personnel now reportedly leave Yemen as U.S. strikes intensify. Russia calls Trump's threats to bomb Iran illegal and unacceptable. Trump has warned there could be direct conflict if Iran doesn't halt its nuclear program. And take a look, Iran striking back. Iran mulls preemptive strike on U.S. bases after Trump's bombs threats. Iran files complaint on Trump's bomb threat with the UN. And take a look at this. Satellite images show multiple U.S. B-2 nuclear-capable bombers have been deployed to the Indian Ocean. The Pentagon announces it is rapidly expanding its footprint in the Middle East as the United States is preparing for war. And as I mentioned, Russia is saying, essentially, if you do this, there will be global catastrophic consequences. This could break out into all World War III. Russia coming to the aid of Iran, and we're also hearing that there are others that are coming to their aid as well. The United States stepping up on behalf of Israel, and we have heard that we could potentially be on the doorstep of World War III. Even though we have changed administrations, there is still a major threat here. Let me know your thoughts. Are we about to enter into war? Now, we've been hearing this with Iran and the United States. Russia is now showing up in the middle of this as well. If you think we're going to be going to war, drop a 3 in the comments. If you think no, put a 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But like I said, I'm going to dive into the latest articles, the headlines coming out today, April 3rd, 2025. The majority of the headlines seem to be focused on the global economy and the tariffs that have hit, as we just had Liberation Day announced in the last 24 hours. However, we are now hearing that there are the warnings of potential physical threats against the United States coming directly from Russia. So, like I said, drop those 3s and 4s. Hit that like button for me if you appreciate the updates. It helps spread this out further so more people can get the latest updated information. I'm very surprised that the news media headlines aren't covering this more, but I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. Now, like I said, hit that like button, subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. Why not? If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. I'll keep you up to speed on everything here on the channel. I cite all the sources. I put it on the screen. I read right from it. I have it hyperlinked down below so that way you can click it, read it for yourself, see the dates, see the sources, and you can know and rest assured that this is the latest information. And again, like I said, if you appreciate that, hit that like button for me. But let's cover this World War III warning that is coming out so that way you can see the latest. Now, before we do, though, very quickly, wanted to mention something for you, and that is that the tensions are escalating between the United States, Russia, and Iran today. And President Trump is threatening military action, and Russia is warning of global catastrophe. This, combined with the ongoing tariff and trade war that is happening right now, has sent the markets crashing today, if you haven't seen that already. Now, these geopolitical conflicts, they can destabilize economies and increase financial uncertainty globally. And it's in times like these, it is wise for us to protect our investments. Gold and silver are reliable assets during economic turbulence like this. Now, today, I wanted to share with you guys Lear Capital, which has over 27 years of experience helping people invest in precious metals. They can help you convert your assets into secure investments that protect and potentially enhance your financial health. Historically, these precious metals, they have retained or increased their value in times of inflation and global unrest, making them a solid choice for safeguarding your wealth. Today, you can contact Lear Capital by calling 1-800-411-2430 or visiting learram.com. So if you are interested, consider checking them out. Here is a booklet that they are offering as well. Totally free information, no obligation, just free information that is going to be provided. They can help you convert those assets into secure investments, protect and potentially enhance your financial health. Again, contact Lear Capital today at 1-800-411-2430 or visit learram.com. They provide free, no obligation wealth protection guides to help you understand the benefits of investing in gold and silver. Don't wait for this situation to worsen. Prepare now by calling 1-800-411-2430 or visiting learram.com. Investing in gold and silver isn't just about protection. It's about making smart choices for your financial future. So once again, that's 1-800-411-2430 or visit learram.com today. It's going to be linked in the description for you. Secure your investments no matter what happens in the world today. So there you have it, you guys. And I want to say thank you to Lear for that, making that available today for us. But let's go ahead and take a look at these warnings that have been coming out. So here you can see Russia warns of irreversible global catastrophe if U.S. attacks Iran. This coming out today, April the 3rd, 2025. You can see the date right here. Now it says Russia said Thursday today that any attacks on its ally Iran, so we are seeing them unify, would be unacceptable and illegal, warning of irreversible consequences if the U.S. were to bomb the Islamic Republic's nuclear facilities. The Russian Foreign Ministry condemned President Trump's threat to bomb Iran if a deal on the Islamic Republic nuclear program is not reached, reiterating its support for Iran's program. The use of military force by Iran's opponents in the context of the settlement is illegal and unacceptable, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova said. Threats from outside or the United States to bomb Iran's nuclear infrastructure facility will inevitably lead to an irreversible global catastrophe. These threats are simply unacceptable. So Russia coming to the aid of Iran, saying that the United States is being inappropriate. It is unacceptable that we are threatening to bomb Iran. This is coming from Russia. Love Life, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Putin is right. Trump is making a big mistake if he attacks Iran. What happened to Trump as a peacemaker? I voted for him to stop the wars and not start them. Trump gets a grip and keep your promises, says Love Life. Love Life, thank you for that $10 super chat. Let me know in the comments if you agree with Love Life. Do you think that Trump needs to take a step back? If so, put a 2. Or do you think, no, this is Trump leading peace with essentially threats? What do they say? Peace by strength. If you think that's the case, put a 1. Let me know if you agree with Love Life. If you disagree, put a 1. If you agree with Love Life that Trump needs to step back, put a 2. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Silent Guard, thank you for the $2 super chat, says, if you can't, I get, but please turn off ads on lives. Silent Guard, I thank you for the $2 super chat. I unfortunately cannot. I use a streaming software, so I have no control over the ads that YouTube places. I apologize for that. But I see those 1s and 2s coming in. 1s, people saying they disagree with you, Love Life, that they feel like right now Trump is guiding us to peace by escalating. That's what it is. De-escalation by escalation. And there are some 2s coming in that are saying that people are believing that Trump does need to take a step back. I'm seeing 1s and 2s pouring in. Don't forget to take a second and hit that like button. Now, reading on, it says the Russian foreign minister condemned President Trump's threats to bomb Iran if a deal on the Islamic Republic's nuclear program is not reached, reiterating its support for Iran's program. The use of military force by Iran's opponents in the context of the settlement is illegal and unacceptable, they said. Threats from outside or the U.S. to bomb Iran's nuclear infrastructure facility will inevitably lead to an irreversible global catastrophe. These threats are simply unacceptable. Mr. Trump made the threat Sunday during a phone interview, promising to use military force and sanctions if Iran refuses to negotiate. If they don't make a deal, there will be bombing. It will be bombing the likes of which they have never seen before, President Trump said. Mr. Trump's comments follow his letter to Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in which the president gave the Islamic Republic a 2-month deadline to reach a nuclear settlement or face severe consequences. So again, following up on where we had left off before, Donald Trump issued out that threat, and he gave them a 60-day timeline to make a decision on whether or not there was going to be some sort of an agreement reached. Now, we had heard that Iran responded back and said there would be no formal talks that they would agree to. Yet at the same time, we also heard we heard Iran say that they are open to informal talks or discussions on the side, so not fully closing that door. And a lot of people saying that's because Iran does not want to enter into war with the United States. The reality of the situation is they do not want to go this route. Now, reports suggest the U.S. is bolstering its military presence in the region. Open source intelligence reports from March said that new B-2 stealth bombers and C-17 transport aircrafts are already stationed at the U.S. Air Force Base on Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. We're going to be taking a look at that here in just a second. Western leaders assert that Iran is covertly enriching weapons-grade uranium on its way to developing a nuclear arsenal. Nuclear watchdogs have found that Iran's level of uranium enrichment is far higher than what would be necessary for purely civilian use. Kim Atkins, thank you for the $10 super chat. She says, I thought Putin wanted peace. I did my research, everyone that is putting propaganda out for Russia is, or used to work for RV-TV and China TV, Ritter George Galloway, the ex-CIA agent, etc. Go figure. Thank you for that. And yes, I always recommend do your research on what is going on. Depending on where you're getting your information from, there could be slightly skewed perspectives. That is why I always try to cite my sources for you guys, put it on the screen, read right from it so you can see directly where it's coming from. You can see the dates and know exactly the source. Now, reading on, it says, Iran has long rejected claims that its nuclear facilities are used for defense purposes, insisting that its enrichment processes are used only for commercial and civilian reasons. Iran is already enduring heavy sanctions as a part of Mr. Trump's maximum pressure campaign against the country. The president issued the new round of sanctions in an executive order in February targeting new sectors of Iran's economy not already hit by sanctions. Iran says that it will not participate in direct talks with the United States delegates while the heavy sanctions are in place, asserting that it will not be bullied to the negotiating table by the U.S. Last month, Iranian officials rejected offers for direct talks with U.S. negotiators while leaving the door open for indirect communication. Iran signed a comprehensive strategic partnership agreement with Russia in January. The deal stopped short of committing Russian forces to the defense of Iran in case of an outside attack, but includes provisions that neither country will offer any assistance to an attacker. So there you have a comprehensive strategic partnership agreement. And Wookie Goldberg, thank you so much for hitting that join button, becoming a member, and supporting the channel with those monthly contributions. Not necessary, but greatly appreciated. Means a lot. Thank you for that. I think it's like $3 a month. As a result of that, not only will all of my cited sources pop up at the bottom of this video in the description, but it'll also pop up in your YouTube feed. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate it a ton. Reading on, it says Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rybakov told Life magazine recently that an attack on Iran risks plunging all of the Middle East into war. The consequences of this, especially if there are strikes on the nuclear infrastructure, could be catastrophic for the entire region, he added. And again, we're hearing that this could be catastrophic. Global consequences, World War III warnings. Kim Atkins, thank you again for the $10 super chat. Says, Iran does not want peace. Trump asked them to stop bombing our ships. Trump found out Russia is funding the Houthis. Trump gave them the option, Russia and Iran, peace or chaos. They have chosen chaos. Thank you, Kim Atkins, for that again. And let me know if you agree with Kim. If so, put a 3 for World War III. Or put a 4 if you think we're going to be able to avoid it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you agree with Kim. John Glass, thank you for the $5 super chat. Adam West is right. Who is Russia to tell someone not to attack? Praise Christ Jesus. John, thank you for that $5 super chat. And yes, I believe in Jesus Christ. And I'd say praise Christ. And we will see what is going to unfold here. You're right. Russia is in the middle of their own conflict right now with Ukraine still. And they're trying to get the United States and Iran not to get into a conflict. So great point on that, John. Thank you for pointing that out. And I see those 3s and 4s pouring in. A lot of 3s. A lot of people saying that they agree with Kim that conflict could be right around the corner here and that peace is not actually wanted. So there you have it, you guys. So this is the warning coming out. This one coming out from the Washington Post. Russia warns of an irreversible global catastrophe if the U.S. attacks Iran, and I see those 3s and 4s pouring in. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Now, in addition to that, let's take a look at the satellite imagery, as we are hearing that there are B-2 nuclear bombers ready to be deployed. They are in the Indian Ocean. This is the United States preparing for potential conflict with Iran in the Middle East. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. It says, in the latest show of force against Iran and Yemen's Houthi rebels, the United States has deployed at least 6 nuclear-capable B-2 bombers to a base in the Indian Ocean within striking distance of both countries. An ABC News analysis of satellite images has shown. Now, the buildup. Let me just switch this setting here just a second. Sorry about that. The buildup of aircraft on the island of Diego Garcia, compromising at least 1/3 of the Air Force's stealth bombing fleet, accomplishes 3 tasks with one strategic move: increasing the United States military presence in the region, enabling continued strikes of targets in Yemen, and sending a message to Iran, the expert told ABC News. Satellite imagery of from Planet Labs, PBC, analyzed by ABC News, shows at least 6 B-2 bombers on April 1st on the runway of Naval Support Facility Diego Garcia, a British naval base leased to the United States on a remote island in the Indian Ocean. The aircrafts were not visible in images taken on March 25th, but on March 29th. At least 4 planes were visible on the tarmac. So they're saying, in about the past 5 days or so, there are B-2 bombers, nuclear bombers, that are in the Indian Ocean from the United States within striking distance of the Middle East in preparation for war. The movement of the aircraft to Diego Garcia definitely sends a signal to Iran about the extent to which they are in jeopardy and the extent of seriousness that the Trump administration feels with regard to its various demands, said Daryl Press, the director of Dartmouth College's Initiative for Global Security. The Pentagon announced Tuesday that it is rapidly expanding its footprint in the Middle East by sending the USS Carl Vinson, an aircraft carrier capable of launching fighter jets, to the region in addition to the USS Harry S. Truman carrier strike group, as Trump has escalated his rhetoric on Iran. Trump on Sunday threatened bombing, the likes of which they have never seen before, if Iran continues supporting Houthi rebels in Yemen and refuses to wind down their nuclear program. Now, if they don't make a deal, there will be bombing, Trump said in a telephone interview with NBC News on March 30th, one day after the aircraft began to amass on Diego Garcia. It will be bombing the likes of which they have never seen before. In total, the U.S. operates 20 B-2 bombers, long-range stealth bombers that cost more than $1.1 billion per plane, according to the U.S. Air Force. At least 6 B-2 bombers are visible at Diego Garcia from satellite imagery ABC News reviewed. Additional squadrons and other air assets that will further reinforce our defense air support capabilities have been deployed to the region. The Department of Defense said in a statement announcing the move, but DoD officials would not confirm whether that was a reference to the deployment of the B-2s to Diego Garcia. It remains unclear whether the B-2s have been used to carry out airstrikes against Houthi targets inside of Yemen. Now, in the past, the kinds of buildups in the region could usually be seen as defensive or demonstrative. This many B-2s signal an unprecedented offensive intent and capability, the ABC News aviation contributor Colonel Steve Ganyard said. Now, the movement of the B-2s to the Indian Ocean expands U.S. capability in the region by allowing it to hit targets repeatedly with a shorter refueling window for aircrafts, according to press. So they are saying that they are preparing for attacks. They've got those B-2 nuclear-capable bombers ready within striking distance. The B-2s bring a truly unique capability to the U.S. military by marrying the ability to carry heavy bombs, including bunker busters, capable of potentially damaging Iran's heavily fortified nuclear-enriched sites, with the ability to fly undetected by radar, the press said. So, hitting those nuclear facilities. And let me know your thoughts. Do you think that Iran's nuclear facilities should get hit? Should Donald Trump move forward with striking Iran? If so, put a 3 for World War III, which is the warning coming out from Russia today. April 3rd, 2025, saying if you strike Iran, this will have global catastrophic consequences as a result of a bombing attack on Iran. But if you think the United States should go forward with it, drop a 3 in the comments. Now, if you think no, let's avoid war, avoid conflict, let's try to get some sort of diplomatic resolution here, put a 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And I'm seeing 3s already pouring in. I see we got about 3,000 people with me live right now. If you haven't done so yet, please take a second, hit the like button if you appreciate the updates. The vast majority of the news media outlets right now are covering the economy and tariffs and the stock market crashing, totally overlooking this essentially World War III threat coming out to the United States from Russia. Wanted to make sure I get you guys the breaking news. If you appreciate it, take a second for me, hit that like button. Kim Atkins, thank you again for the $10 super chat. I appreciate the generosity. He says, Trump showed everyone how powerful the USA was with a swipe of a pen. The tariffs, so they need to be nice. Yes, Donald Trump is definitely making America be seen again, great again, strong again. Right now, we're hearing they're calling it the Trump effect. The world is responding as a result of the last 24 hours, Liberation Day. Now, reading on, the article says, I would expect that B-2s could operate over any Iranian air defense at minimal risk, with the caveat that countries all around the world are constantly innovating and sharing technology to try to locate, track, and destroy these aircrafts, press told ABC News. Now, it says, the visibility of the 6 aircrafts is likely intentional to send a message to Iran. So they're saying that the U.S. is actually making these visible for the purpose of Iran seeing, hey, the United States is ready to hit you at any moment. Now, according to the press, who noted that the U.S. Air Force has the ability to launch long-range bombers from the continental USA. Moving the bombers to the Indian Ocean nominally increases the military's striking power while delivering a message to Iran and the Houthis. Simply because the movement of the bombers is a signal doesn't mean that it's a bluff, in the sense that the same show of force, which has the effect of coercing Iran, also is a preparation for the use of force if it comes to it, the press said. So they're saying that this is a show of force, but it is also, Iran, if you want to make this move, we are ready to hit you. The movement of B-2s appears to align with the broader strategy of moving military assets into the region to strengthen the United States' position. According to Dana Strout, research director at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy and former Department of Defense Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East during the Biden administration. What they're doing is a whole series of posture increases across the Middle East to reinforce Trump's stated willingness to use military force should diplomacy fail, she added. Kim Atkinson, thank you again for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that a ton. She says, we tried the diplomatic way. The way Trump kissed Putin's butt to get peace, and Putin mocked him. It made me gag. Iran and Putin has had their chance. They must be stopped before we have another Hitler. Thank you for that. I appreciate the super chats a ton. Yes, we will see what direction this goes here. I see a lot of 3s pouring in as people are agreeing with you, saying that they think that we need to go to war, that war is going to happen, that it is irreversible. We will see. I will keep you up to date. Reading on, it says Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said this week vowed a strong and reciprocal blow if the United States strikes Iran first. Iran's foreign minister said that Iran is willing to engage in indirect negotiations with the United States after the Trump administration sent Iran a formal letter earlier this month requesting to restart diplomatic engagement with the country. Trump pulled out of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, also known as the Iran nuclear deal, during his first term in office. The JCPOA, negotiated during the Obama administration, was designed to limit Iran's development of nuclear weapons. Since retaking office in January, Trump has tried to re-engage Iran in diplomatic talks over their nuclear weapons developments, threatening military escalation if diplomacy is not achieved. Nobody in the region wants more war, and the challenge with the United States using military force against Iran is whether or not it can be contained, or whether this escalates to World War III in the Middle East, Stroud said. And again, there you can see it, this warning coming out today Russia is saying that if the U.S. hits Iran, this will have global consequences. It will be catastrophic, that we will be entering into World War III. Let me know your thoughts. Are we about to see World War III unfold? If you think so, again, drop those threes in the comments. If you think we're going to be able to stave this off and that this is going to be just a part of negotiations, put a 4. Let me know your thoughts. Because right now, as I mentioned, Iran is essentially threatening the United States, saying that they are ready to strike. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But let's take a look at this article coming out here so that way you can see it as Iran mulls preemptive strike on U.S. base after Trump bomb threats. So right now, Iran is threatening attacking potentially the United States. And I'm seeing those 3s and 4s still pouring in here. A lot of 3s and 4s as well coming in. So the room is kind of split as to whether or not we're going to be seeing some form of escalation here. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this article. Now, this actually came out on the 1st, so this came out about 2 days ago. It says Iranian military commanders are considering a preemptive strike on a joint U.S.-UK base on the Chagos Island located in the Indian Ocean in an apparent attempt to deter President Donald Trump from launching a military attack on Iran, a report by The Telegraph first said. Wow, okay, let me know your thoughts on this. If they are actually thinking about doing a preemptive strike against the United States, I personally think that is a terrible strategy on the part of Iran. Let me know if you agree or disagree. If you agree, put yes. If you disagree, put no. But I think that if Iran struck the United States, there would be massive escalation that would come from Donald Trump. He would not take that very lightly. I think that Iran would have all hell to pay if they do a preemptive strike against a military base against the U.S. or the U.K. Let me know your thoughts. I think that the more diplomatic approach right now would be if Iran entered into negotiations with the United States and they tried to end their nuclear program. I think that would probably be the best approach if they did not want to enter into war. Strategically, I do not think that Iran wants to enter into war with the United States. I might be wrong. Let me know your thoughts. But if this is true, that they're considering this, I personally think this is an unwise move on behalf of Iran. Let me know your thoughts. Now, reading on, it says, likely an Iranian military threat. The art is to determine what is bluster and what is real. Bo Palmer, thank you for the $5 super chat. Russia doesn't have the cojones. They will lose. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that a ton. And I'm seeing a lot of yeses pouring in as people are saying they agree that Iran, this would not be a wise move for them. Now, reading on, it says, Bennam Ben Talblou, an Iran expert and senior fellow at the Foundation of Defense of Democracies, told Fox News Digital when asked about the strategy behind the alleged threats against the U.S. base. Deception is a propaganda tool used to bolster deterrence and to prevent a conventionally weak regime from having to fight, he added. By threatening everywhere, the regime hopes to have to fight nowhere, meaning its revolutionary foreign policy gets to remain uncontested. So he is saying that they are issuing out these threats everywhere in hopes that there will be no fighting whatsoever, because essentially they've got nothing to back it. Reading on, it says, Fox News Digital has not been able to independently confirm the threat of attack on the Diego Garcia base, positioned some 2,400 miles south of Iran, but experts on Iranian security have been sounding the alarm that Tehran likely has, if not direct missile capabilities, options to position its arms that will enable it to hit U.S. strategic interests farther away. So they're saying that Iran potentially does have the capability to hit the United States. Iran has a self-imposed range of roughly 1,200 miles on its ballistic capabilities, though it is suspected that the IRGC has a ballistic strike capability of hitting up to 1,800 miles away using its medium-range ballistic missile. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Ben Talblou explained in a post on X. Kim, thank you again for your generosity today. I appreciate that a ton. Says Iran's radical Islam, they think that they will be a martyr and die and go to heaven, receiving 70 virgins. What would be hell is to die and go to heaven, and it be 70 Karens laughing out loud. Thank you for that, Kim. I appreciate the $10 super chat and the comments. I will continue to keep you up to date. Thank you so much for all the super chats. I appreciate it a ton. Reading on, it says Tehran also has the updated version of the missile known as the Khorramshahr, also referred to as the Kebir missile, which is suspected to being able to exceed Iran's other strike range options, though the extent of its capabilities has not been fully tested. But even if it's incapable of hitting a U.S. target some 2,400 miles from its most southern border, Iran has proven it is crafty when it comes to expanding its strike range, including through the use of merchant ships and oil tankers converted to warships to expand its long-range strike capabilities. Now, there's always a chance of using a foreign-procured container-launched cruise missile for even an unconverted tanker or commercial vessel at sea, Ben Tablu explained in his post, referring to its use of both Russian and Chinese procured cruise missiles following its war with Iraq in the 1980s. In addition, Iran could again turn to its close ties to terrorist networks to transfer missile capabilities to war-torn areas like Yemen, which could enable it to strike further south into the Indian Ocean by some 800 miles, so utilizing the Houthi rebels to strike U.S. assets. While all these options would make Iran's launch platform, especially at sea, easy targets for a counterstrike, they mean that Tehran does not have the option to strike further afield than expected, he said. Trump in recent days has increased his threats against Iran and warned there could be direct conflict if it doesn't stop arming the Houthi terrorist group or halt its nuclear program. But it remains unclear at what level the U.S. would respond to a direct attack on its military, which could prove catastrophic for Tehran given its revealed defense capabilities when faced with strikes from Israel. There you have it, this article agreeing with what I had said earlier. Not very likely that Iran wants to go to war with the United States, does not want to strike their assets, because if they get struck back, their defense systems have shown to be wanting. They are lacking. After the attacks we saw from Israel against Iran, and we literally heard the President Pezeshkian say to the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, we don't want to go to war with Israel because right now our economy is suffering, our defenses are down. Can you imagine if they were to go to war with the United States? I think Iran would essentially get devastated and would be praying that their allies come to their aid, because without them, I think that it would be very bad. Kim, thank you again for the $10 super chat. Iran can't even take out Israel, and the Houthis aim a missile thinking it's towards Israel and it's Egypt. Yes, we're hearing that Iran recently has had a very poor showing in their war strategies. Now, Iran on Monday also filed a letter of complaint with the United Nations Security Council over Trump's reckless and belligerent threats and described them as a flagrant violation of international law. According to a report by Reuters, Iran's UN ambassador Amir Saeed Irvani said Tehran strongly warns against any military adventurism and will respond swiftly and decisively to any act of aggression or attack by the United States or its proxies, the Israeli regime, against its sovereignty, territorial integrity, or national interests. Wow. So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, as we are hearing Iran is threatening the United States as well, saying that even though Donald Trump is issuing out these threats, they're saying that they are not going to respond while there is maximum pressure against them. They said that you need to remove that maximum pressure, and if you want to have talks about nuclear agreements, then we can do so. But at this time, they are saying no and are considering potentially attacking the U.S. But this article saying they believe that basically that's empty threats, that Iran does not want to have war with the United States. If you agree, put yes. If you disagree, put no. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as I mentioned to you earlier, Russia getting right in the middle of this. Here's another one. Several articles coming out on this today. And like I said, very interesting to me that the news media outlets are primarily focused on the tariffs and the economy. Stock market is crashing. And to me, I think that is very important, but literally receiving a warning, a threat from Russia to the United States about World War III, catastrophic global consequences if the U.S. moves forward with bombings on Iran. This coming out today, April the 3rd, 2025. Didn't see a whole lot of coverage on it. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware of what's going on. So I wanted to make sure that we get into the details of this. So you can see this article coming out a couple hours ago. Russia calls Trump threat to bomb Iran illegal and unacceptable. Trump has warned there could be direct conflict if Iran doesn't halt its nuclear program. Russia is pushing back against President Donald Trump's threats to bomb Iran, calling them illegal and unacceptable. Trump in recent days has increased his threats against Iran and warned that there could be direct conflict if the Islamic Republic doesn't stop arming the Houthi terrorist group or halt its nuclear program. Russia, meanwhile, said Thursday today that it's committed to finding solutions to Iran's nuclear program that respects its right to peaceful nuclear energy, according to Reuters. The use of military force by Iran's opponents in the context of the settlement is illegal and unacceptable. The Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova was quoted by the news agency as saying, "Threats from outside or the United States to bomb Iran's nuclear infrastructure facility will inevitably lead to irreversible global catastrophe. These threats are simply unacceptable," she reported as well. Rebecca Koffler, a former DIA intelligence officer specializing in Russia's war-fighting strategy and Putin's thinking, told Fox News Digital on Thursday that Russia's statement is consistent with the diplomatic posture that it's trying to project of being Iran's strategic partner. In reality, Russia and Iran are not natural allies. They share a very turbulent history, and there's plenty of distrust in their relationship. The Russians don't trust Iranians to have a fully operational militarized nuclear capability, she continued, but they would never admit to it in public. At one point during the Obama administration, Moscow was siding with Washington in terms of economic sanctions on Iran and complied with Washington's request not to sell S-300s air defense missiles to Tehran. Putin, in angling to serve as a broker between the Trump administration and the Iranian government on the nuclear issue, she also said. Trump's overtures via a letter to Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei to jumpstart talks on dismantling Tehran's illicit nuclear weapons program were met with rejection on Sunday. So on Sunday, we heard Iran say, no, we will not have any negotiations. However, they said we will have indirect negotiations, so not closing the door, because if not, we're hearing that Trump is saying this would mean bombs will be dropping on Tehran. Now, Trump told NBC the day before, if they don't make a deal, there will be bombing. But there's a chance that if they don't make a deal, that I will do secondary tariffs on them like I did 4 years ago, he said. Secondary tariffs or sanctions would mean slapping financial penalties on any country that does business with Iran. Iran's president, Mohammad Pezeshkian, said on Sunday, "We don't avoid talks. It's the breach of promises that has caused issues for us so far," according to the Associated Press. He added, "They must prove that they can build trust." Now, Iran is enriching uranium to 60%, just shy of the 90% weapons grade. Experts say that it could have a nuclear weapon within weeks if it were to take the final steps to building one. Fox News Digital reported in late March that Iran's regime has enriched enough uranium to manufacture 6 nuclear weapons, according to the UN Atomic Agency report. So make no mistake, these are nuclear warnings that are coming out about Iran. And again, just to clarify, they need to enrich the uranium to 90% to get it to weapons grade. They are at 60%. And if they simply just want to use the uranium for energy purposes, we've heard, I think it's something like 3% or 6%. So they are multiple times higher than needed. And people are saying that they are not buying that Iran is just enriching the uranium for energy purposes. They're saying they have far surpassed what is necessary. They are trying to get nuclear weapons. And if you agree, drop a 3 in the comments that Iran is trying to get nuclear weapons to essentially strike the United States or Israel, which is what Donald Trump has been saying. If you disagree, put a 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And also, if you haven't done so yet, please take a second hit that like button for me. Kim Atkins, thank you again for the $10 super chat. I appreciate the generosity, Kim. I just want to give you a special shout out and say thank you so much. I appreciate all the super chats. Russia can't beat Ukraine. They did nothing in Syria. Xi in China is trying to save himself from a military coup. Yes, there is a lot of conflict around the world right now. It is pretty intense. I see those 3s and 4s pouring in. Now, like I said, right now we are seeing the stock market crash. There is instability in the economy, the global markets all over as a result of everything that is taking place. We're hearing about tariffs, Liberation Day. In addition to that, we just received a World War III warning, a threat from Russia directed towards the United States in regards to bombing Iran. So if you are concerned about your 401k, your savings, whatever the case is right now, check out the link in the description for learcapital.com. You go to learram.com for the Lear Capital link, or you can call 1-800 or the phone number is linked down there below as well. I don't have it on the screen with me, but you can go ahead and check them out. It is right here, 1-800-411-2430. You're able to get free information if you'd like to make preparations. If you believe that we're going to war, precious metals historically hold their value. So once again, thank you to Lear Capital. Go to learram.com, 1-800-411-2430. Thank you for making that available to the audience today. And you guys, so that is the latest. I'm going to keep you up to speed on everything so you know exactly what is taking place, but we are hearing that things are escalating significantly right now, and we will see where we go from here. We will see if Iran comes to the negotiating table, if they de-escalate the situation, if they're just simply bluffing, or if there's actually going to be some attacks, and the United States could be going to war with Iran, and Russia warning that this could be World War III. We will see. I will keep you up to date every step of the way, though, so you know exactly what is going on. I'll let you know as it comes out. Steve Ram, after this is over, I'm putting in a prepper list, says Silent Guard. Yes, and Silent Guard, if you haven't already checked out, I've got a prepper list for you down below as well. We've got those iodide potassium tablets, link down below. It's like $15. You can have some ready. Just in case there's any sort of radioactive exposure from potential nuclear bombs, dirty bombs that were to go off. Also, there's one for $20 that's for all ages. It's linked in the description, Amazon links, various different things to get prepared. Definitely, I don't think it's a bad idea to have a prepper list. It feels a whole lot better now that we've got the Trump administration than the Biden administration. Honestly, it felt like the last administration, things were escalating significantly with the threats of war. Trump, it feels like he's leading a little bit more with strength. However, I still don't think it's a bad idea to have resources ready, because you never know. Things just seem like they are just, you have no idea what's going to happen. It's absolutely incredible the times that we are living in right now. But please say a prayer for our world, say a prayer for the Middle East, for the United States, for Trump, for our leadership. And I will do my best to continue to keep you guys up to date on everything as it comes out, so you know exactly what is going on. But that is the latest, you guys. Articles are going to be linked down in the description below. If you appreciate the updates, don't forget to take a second, hit the like button for me. Subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. Why not? And I'll keep you up to speed on everything. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.